Welcome back to In the Cards and Stars. I'm your host, Madrid Mogensen, and we're going to be talking about Neptune's move into Aries, which is happening right now as I record this on January 26th, 2026. Let's just dive right in. Let's talk about it. This is a big transit. This is something major that we all need to know about. And before we get started, I want you guys to identify the Aries ruled house in your birth chart. Which of your 12 houses is ruled by Aries? Okay, you need to know that because this is where we are going to have a lot of emphasis over the next 14 years. Yes, this is not a light, not a light, just little transit in and out. This is going to be a whole theme that we work on individually in our own birth charts and collectively. So we're going to see a lot of themes shifting in the world around us. We've already gotten a little bit of a preview. If we look back to the earlier transit back in 2025, from March 30th through October 22nd, 2025, we got a little bit of a taste of Neptune transiting Aries. And you may want to think back, like, how was life going? How did you feel? What was happening back then? For me, I'm actually, to be on theme, I'm wearing a shirt from the Spring Mountain Country Club where I went for my birthday, September 9th, during this Neptune in Aries transit and did something totally out of my comfort zone, totally different. It had to be the Neptune Aries transit, honestly. And I drove race cars, which is very Aries energy. And I actually got third, which surprised me and shocked me about what I am capable of. I had no idea. And it really got me inspired. That's so Neptune and Aries, like to do something Aries energy and to feel expanded and inspired. So that's some really good stuff that we can look forward to, especially in the Aries ruled house in our charts. This is where we already are challenged in life to show up with Aries energy, with fresh ideas, with independence, being ourselves. So no matter which house, even if it's like the fourth house, which is more hidden, like you may be a trailblazer in your family. You may be breaking familial curses or starting your own family in a different part of the country or the world and, kind of starting your own offshoot with your own family culture. You are the leader in this part of your birth chart specifically. Of course, you can be a leader in other parts too, but the Aries energy is very potent, and it is very much like where we try new things, innovate, do things that maybe no one else has done before. Aries goes first. So it can be also a place where we feel a little bit afraid to do something different, to do something new, but that's the challenge and the reward, right? I keep thinking about this song by Bon Jovi, It's My Life, It's Now or Never. That is very Aries energy. So if you need like a little bit of a boost and you need to channel that Aries energy as we move deeper into this transit, and then Saturn next month is going to be also joining Neptune and Aries, like we're going to have some emphasis. So we need to kind of power up. So listen to that song if you want, that could be a good Aries energy channel for you. And also, like I said, that book that I am obsessed with, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Another great book to just go ahead and secure when you need a little bit of a boost. And I'm going to read a little bit from it at the very end because there's some information about like positive thinking that I think is going to be really helpful for all of us. But I am particularly connected to Aries energy because although I don't have any planets in Aries, I have my North Node there, meaning that like one of my biggest themes in life is to find the Aries energy within and embrace it. I'm a Libra South Node, so my tendency is to be harmonious, safe, more of a we than a me, like that kind of vibe. And as I continue to, get older and learn more things and work in different settings with different people and find, renewed strength and courage, I become more of my Aries North Node, which is what we're supposed to do. So I'm already buckling up. I got my song ready. I need to make a playlist, like a full-on playlist for this transit, and which I can share with you guys if y'all would be interested in that. And then also, like, I got my book ready. Like, I got my mind right because I know it's go time. Like, my North Node is being activated for the next, 14 years while Pluto is in Aquarius, which is my first house. So I already know what this means. Like, I've thought about it a lot. And I want to tell you guys, the astrology in the wild is real. So let's talk a little bit more about the specifics of like what you guys need to know, what you might want to write down in your calendars, all that good stuff. We're going to take it back for a second. Neptune was in Pisces from April 4th, 2011 until it took that little dip into Aries, March 30th, 2025, did that transit until October 22nd, 2025. And then now, as of right now, literally, into Aries for a nice stretch of things. It's going to be there until May 21st, 2038. Then it's going to do some more stuff, but we'll talk about that when we get there. We don't need to worry about that. But so it's going to be there from today until May 21st, 2038. Okay, so we have some time with this energy, so don't feel rushed. Aries tends to do that, but don't worry. Take your time. We've got some a lot to do. When you think back to April 4th, 2011, and you think about your Pisces ruled house in your birth chart, you may have discovered a lot of things in that part of your life. I think it's really good to reflect on those things and to just kind of appreciate the moment, appreciate what you accomplished in that part of your life and that part of your chart. We had Saturn joining Pisces for the past 3 years. If this was your Saturn return, like Harry Styles, I definitely think this is why Harry Styles didn't put out new music until now. I do think that he follows astrology. I mean, he has a lot of planets in Aquarius, so I'm just saying, I think that's part of, his practice based on the timing of his album release. But also, even if he isn't into astrology, he definitely is living it with an astrology in the wild moment. He had his Saturn return, and I just think it's so interesting that he didn't put out any new music during that time. It is a time when we really get serious. Things that feel lighthearted just don't really have a place during our Saturn return. And it's something that you go through like late 20s, early 30s. So, we all go through it. And it's something that we find a new sense of maturity, depending on where it is in our birth charts. That's where we are like learning those lessons. But even if this wasn't your Saturn return, the part of your birth chart ruled by Pisces definitely got a hammering. Not only did we have a lot of illusion, delusion, and confusion. Ooh, a lot of Ian's there since April 4th, 2011. When Saturn joined Neptune, we actually had a little bit of a rude awakening, and we got some clarity that you just can't buy. That's the kind of thing you just can't fake. So think about what you learned. Let's try to put a positive twist on it. I will use myself as an example. Pisces rules my second house of finances and self-worth. April 4th, 2011, I was getting ready to graduate from college. And what do you do when you graduate from college? Well, you got to make your own money, and you got to figure out your career. And it takes a lot of self-worth. I mean, that was a huge battle for me. So definitely can confirm. Think about your own chart. Where did you push yourself to overcome illusions and delusions in the Pisces ruled part of your chart? If this was your home life, your fourth house, maybe you moved. Maybe you went to a whole different place and had to find your sense of home and community, and maybe you're moving again. I don't know. It's going to be different for everybody. This is why a connection to your own birth chart is so important and so helpful to reflect on everything going on for you and to be able to really embrace and move through these transits with that awareness. Because I feel like we get so much more out of it when we know what's transiting and what's happening and where to focus. So the themes that Pisces and Neptune and Pisces in particular had us focusing on since April 4th, 2011 were things like spirituality, imagination, empathy, especially as to the way that they relate to your Pisces ruled house in your birth chart. Collectively, because this is a slow moving outer planet, it also has a huge effect on us as a collective. So our entire society, everybody around the world, us as a human race. A lot of the themes that we saw emerge, one person really comes to mind, that guy Jay Shetty, he comes to mind. That guru type of person, Oprah, doing Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. The name of my TV show, Be Zen with Brit. I mean, am I going to need to change the name of my show? Maybe. Honestly, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to follow my intuition. And that's what we're all supposed to do right now. We're following our intuition. Neptune is your intuition, and you have to just kind of tune in and listen. And don't be afraid to innovate or make changes or a fresh start, because Aries is about those fresh starts. But I digress, because collectively we all sort of went into seeking and searching for compassion and for greater understanding of spirituality. And all of that is really good. And I think important and we have to honor it at the time. And that was like what we were all meant to do and focus on. And now things are changing again. Now we're focusing on something else. It's like we graduated, and now we go to like a different grade where we learn different lessons. So the new lessons are now all about Aries energy. So we've learned about Pisces energy. We know how that feels. I think we've also realized that this is so weird, you guys. Oh my, the King of Cups right here, right next to me, just sitting on the top of the deck. That's weird because that's Pisces energy. So, okay, confirmation of whatever is coming through right now. Because on one hand, there is this positive side of Pisces where it's like imagination, spirituality, empathy. But then on the other side of this, it's like performative empathy, performative activism. It could be, for me, with the second house, student loans. Oh my God. And like paying off my student loans, and like needing to earn the money, second house, to pay off student loans. And like that was a big thing. And I wondered, like, why was this even allowed? Like I was like 18 years old and I signed this like student loan paperwork that I didn't fully even understand. And the interest just kept compounding and I wasn't even able to pay it off till like my late 30s. Like what? That to me, I was like, that's confusing. And it really like kind of took the wool off of my eyes about financial institutions, the world of banking, how it actually works. We can have all these ideas in our mind and like we can want to manifest money and all this stuff, right? And again, very like Saturn and Neptune and Pisces. But at the end of the day, there's also a system in place. And if you don't know the rules, you're at a disadvantage, right? And so that's how I felt. That's what I kind of took away from all of that. That there are ways to move through things. Saturn and Pisces, it's like you can do it, but you have to work for it. And you have to decide, what are you willing to work for? What do you want to work for? And what do you not want to do? So it's like all of these themes, okay? Now, collectively, we've gone through that. All of us individually in our Pisces ruled houses, we've kind of experienced our own little version of the energy, but then collectively, these institutions and the way that things are right now, it's like we are ready to get real. We need to get real. It's time for us to be more honest, blow away the illusion and the delusion of Pisces energy. That's not serving us anymore. It's like the frustration that we feel when people are just like politicians, for example, they're just like talking like, we need change. Like this doesn't need to happen anymore. I filed this or that. Well, Neptune and Saturn in Aries is going to be like, okay, but what are you doing? But what are you actually doing? Putting your foot to the ground. It's not about putting pen to paper anymore. It's about how are you showing up? What movements are you making? Aries rules the body, the physical body, movements, taking action. Act first, think later. We have to temper that, of course, during this transit, especially, over the next 14 years. It's very important to blend the spiritual elements of Neptune and a lot of the great things we learned from Neptune and Pisces, but to now take that and blend it with action. So this is sort of like the next level. It's like, okay, we spent 14 years learning about what it means to be creative, to be spiritual, to be empathetic. And then also seeing a lot of the ways that people use that in a fake way and a lot of the ways that people manipulate that. Okay. For example, not things that are super well researched, which probably will get me in trouble when Saturn moves into Aries. So I'm going to have to get better about this, into my third house of communication. But I will say this, something that's been on my mind that I've been thinking about lately. And it's very much this theme. So Oprah, who I definitely admire her, look up to her career. She started off in Chicago, had a talk show, truly built from the ground up. She went through so much. Like if you read her biography or listen to there's a podcast about her life as well. It's like she went through so much. She really did. And that is amazing. What she was able to build and what she was able to do and how strong she was and how much she persevered. So I was looking at Oprah like that. And when I started my talk show, actually, I was like, I want it to be like Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, which is why I named it Be Zen. It was Be Zen TV. Now it's Be Zen with Brit. It might be Get Up and Go, when we get into the full Aries energy, because everything is evolving. But Oprah, she talked about spirituality. She had all these amazing thought leaders and spiritual people on, and it was great because it helped us think. And she created like a cultural movement of like Oprah's book club and people like reading about like The Secret. And like she brought all of that into our collective consciousness, which is amazing. But At the same time, if you read those books and you're still in a place where you feel powerless and you still feel kind of confused and you're not able to get what you need for yourself and for your family, there's a time to move on from that and to take action and to be the spiritual warrior where we're not just reading the books, we're not just talking about the ideas, but we are building new structures. We are taking new actions to actually make the world around us look different. That's the shift. And with Oprah, something that I thought was a little bit sad, and again, this is why I need to do more research because I can't make any claims about this. I don't know. I haven't verified it, which I know, like I said, will get me in trouble when Saturn moves into Aries of my third house. But it's not there yet, so I'm just going to talk a little. I saw some reports saying that during the wildfires in Maui in Hawaii, some people were not able to like move through and like get out in this particular way. Like it would have been faster for them to use this road that I guess Oprah allegedly owns. And they had to call her to open the road, and she eventually did. But it was like, and then she allegedly has bought up a bunch of land. So that to me is not very spiritual. If that stuff is true, I need to look into it. I need to verify it. And if anybody knows, let me know. But if that's true, that would be very Neptune in Pisces. It's like there is this nice thing to say that we're it's nice to say that we're spiritual, but are you? But do you take spiritual actions? Are you actually a kind and generous and charitable person in your daily life where it counts? Or do you just talk about these things and these big ideas while at the same time continuing to perpetrate an injustice and do things to your fellow human that are going to hurt them? Like that's not very spiritual. And that is part of that Neptune and Pisces delusion and illusion. So now that we kind of see that, we're like, that's kind of gross. It's a turnoff. We're over that as a society. We are so over people just saying that things are going to change or things are going to be better. We are ready to see people who actually tell us who they are honest about it, people who recognize who we are, what we need, and who are going to show up as these like spiritual warriors, meaning they're going to take action to create positive changes. Now, this is going to be a very interesting energy to navigate because as you can see, I use the word warrior, and a lot of other astrologers have been talking about how this is very similar energy to the American Revolution. And we've all seen what's been going on in Minnesota and the tragedies, the two people who were murdered, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, like we saw that. We're aware of that. The spiritual idealism or the fanaticism that led to that, it's so over. The illusion has so been popped, hopefully for anyone who was still living in that illusion. Now it's about power to the people with Pluto in Aquarius, and Neptune and Saturn are moving into Aries to push us forward on that timeline. What is that going to look like? Well, honestly, that's up to us, which is why I think it's really important for us all to be very conscious and aware. I talked about this in the live stream yesterday, and I know this is kind of a serious topic, but I do think it's important that we also talk about serious things because all of this is a part of our world, and astrology can give a lot of insight. So last night, somebody was asking about doing a reading for the future and if we're going to have like conflict and all of these things. And the truth is, like, we may have some conflict. We may run into some difficulties. But Aries is so individualistic that if we each make a commitment to being a source of positive change, of information, learn from the Pisces energy, learn from Neptune and Pisces. What we learned is that it's just lip service if you don't actually put your money where your mouth is. You can't just say you're a good person and then turn your back on somebody in need, right? So now it's like, how do we show up as spiritual warriors? We have to channel this in a very spiritual way. Think about like Tai Chi, like Zen masters. I do think that things like that will become more popular during this time because Neptune and Aries, it literally is like the Zen master. It's the person who is taking things slow and methodically and like not just popping off. people who just pop off or act reckless, like that is going to be a very negative way to learn the lessons of Neptune and Aries, because the delusion and the illusion that will be illuminated is that that doesn't work. Like that's my take. I think that that's going to just show us that we don't need to repeat past mistakes. We already did the American Revolution. We already know what that looked like. I think now it's about how can we be spiritual warriors? How can we be more futuristic? How can we think about the whole of humanity with Pluto and Aquarius? And what are the actions that we all need to take to make really positive change? So rather than violence, for example, this would be more about showing up for your community and making sure that people can safely go and vote. So it's taking positive spiritual warrior actions for the good of all, not just these crazy, like chaotic situations, because that really only plays into the hands of the oppressors, right? What happens when two people are in an argument and one person starts to get really mad and upset? They kind of look like the one in the wrong, right? Even if the person who is the perpetrator or like the person who's instigating everything, even if they're the ones that started it, it's all about our reaction. And that is the most frustrating thing to learn. And that's why Neptune in Aries is, I think, going to be a challenge in some ways, because we are really going to have to channel all of that Aries warrior energy into well thought out, emotionally regulated actions that are going to truly be for the good of everyone, rather than just in the moment saying something nasty or, getting into an argument or worse. So, how do we do this? Well, the place in your birth chart that's ruled by Aries holds the key. This is the part of your life where you naturally are a leader and you may be called to contribute in this part of your life, through this part of your life. So let me go through all of the houses just for a quick refresher. When you hear the house that is ruled by Aries for you, just think about how can you use this part of your life? How can you be a bigger leader here? How can you show up with more spiritual warrior energy? So like a calm, directed inner strength, assertiveness, and how can that contribute to the good of everyone else around you? Okay. I know it's kind of like, but we're going to get there. Neptune just got here. Okay. So it's still a little bit foggy, but we're going to get through it. All right. So if this is your first house, if your first house is ruled by Aries, this is you. You are the one showing up, your identity, your body. You may be someone who is like, not literally on like the front lines, but like somebody who is taking action on a daily basis and who is embodying what leadership looks like on a daily basis. Like you are the example. Okay. You are the one who's going to show the rest of us how to be braver, how to be more courageous. You have that energy that we all need right now. So show up fully, be authentic, but also make sure that you are always in the highest light, that you are always doing things for the good of all, because that Pluto in Aquarius really, really insists that we all do that. So you can't be selfish. Don't fall into the negative side of Aries, but show up with that strength and that courage that we all need to be inspired by. Okay, second house. If your second house is ruled by Aries, this is your money, your possessions, your self-worth. These are the themes you're going to be working through. And by mastering your finances, your self-worth, your possessions, you are going to show other people how to do that. And that is very positive. The more people have self-worth, the more money and resources that we all have, the more good that we can do, right? More ethical people with money. It can only be a good thing. So you're here working on your money, your finances. You're going to be a leader in that part of your life, and you may get into a leadership position at work. You may be challenged to show up as more of a leader at work. Maybe you're answering questions and doing things that feel a little bit out of your comfort zone. You've got this, though. You've got this. Use that strategic mind and be a leader in that part of your life. The third house. This is communication, siblings, local life, local communities. So you guys are going to be the community leaders, the grassroots organizers, the people who are, maybe doing the reporting, maybe the social media reporting, sharing what's going on in the world. And you are going to be connecting people through communication. So you're also an important lifeline for Neptune in Aries, because you guys are essentially going to be the ones like disseminating the information that everybody needs. Okay, the fourth house, this is the home. So Aries energy in the home with your roots, your family, your emotional base. You may end up, by example, showing your family what it means to have different ideas. Let's say you come from a family where everybody kind of thinks the same thing and is supposed to do the same thing and act the same way. And you may decide, that's not me. I have my own ideas. Or maybe I don't want to live in the place where I grew up. I want to move somewhere else. With Aries being that pioneering energy, over the next 14 years, you'll do that. And you'll start your own thing, your own family culture, your own community vibe. You may also be reviewing your emotional experiences in a new light, in the light of more strength and more appreciation for yourself and how far you've come and what you've accomplished in your life, like on an emotional level. You may build new roots. You may move houses, but not just that, but like build new roots. Like through the experience of moving somewhere new, you may find a new sense of independence as well that trickles down through all of the areas of your life. Fifth house. This is the energy of creativity, romance, fun, self-expression. People are going to be looking to you during this time to help them have fun, to help them forget their worries, their cares. If you've ever wanted to be more creative or take on a creative pursuit, the next 14 years is the perfect time to do that. That is where you are leading us. You are going to be helping us have fun, helping us to laugh, to forget about our worries, and keep us feeling uplifted. We all need that. So lean into that. Be the silly, fun-loving person, and don't feel bad about it. If people don't get it yet, just know this is what you're here to do. You're here to help people have fun. Also, you may get into a new romance. You may start dating a lot more if you're single, and you could even have children. And through your leadership of being a great parent, that can be part of your contribution. Okay, the sixth house. This is work, health, routine, service. Okay, if Aries rules your sixth house, you are no stranger to needing to be disciplined. You probably have a lot of natural energy already. With Neptune moving there, you may feel foggy at first. Like, what are the new routines that I need to embrace in order to tackle this different phase of my life, whatever that looks like for you? You may find that you want to be more creative with your sixth house, with your workouts, with the way that you live out your life and your daily routine. Maybe the old structure is sort of boring now and you're being empowered in this part of your life to make some changes that feel more authentic to who you are now. Go for it. Pay special attention to the routines that are working, to the routines that aren't working. Make changes there. Set this up for you to be as strong and as healthy as possible. You may be coming up with new workouts. I mean, this sounds kind of funny, but you may come up with a new workout and inspire somebody else around you to also do the same thing. And it may end up making them healthier and saving their life. I know, went down a rabbit hole, but this is just the ways that we all are kind of like ripples in the water, and what we do ripples out and it affects everybody else. That's why even showing up just for yourself, you may think you're only doing it for yourself, but you never know who else is being inspired by you. And that is very Neptune and Aries energy. We are all called to embody our authentic truth and our strength. And as long as we do it in a way that is not selfish or fully self-serving, if we do it in a way that is balanced, then it can only be good. It can only be a good thing. Okay, seventh house, this is your relationships and your partnerships. So if this is where you have Aries energy, you are going to be empowered and asked by the universe to show up fully in your relationships. You may find that at different times you come across in your relationships as very strong and authentic, and then at other times you sort of go into the background and channel more of that opposite Libra energy. During this next 14-year transit, you are going to be asked to fully be honest and real about who you are, to be a leader in your relationships. This can also be in your business partnerships as well as romantic relationships. So for you, it's how am I going to build fun, because Neptune is like that romance, that creativity, fun, creative partnerships with those around me, while also not sacrificing the truth of who I am and where I want to go, because you're an Aries trailblazer. And sometimes it's hard to have Aries in that seventh house because you're like, I need to go and do things. Like, I need to make this stuff happen, and I don't really want to wait for somebody else. So that can feel kind of frustrating. During this transit, you're going to fully figure that out. You're going to figure out how to be a great partner and how to also be really happy and be yourself. So just embrace that journey, and stay balanced. You've got this. When Saturn moves into your seventh house, you're going to feel like you can make some really solid, strong commitments. You may be making a major commitment. And over the next, it'll be a couple years of Saturn in Aries, but just know that this is good. This is the exact type of energy that you are your soul is wanting to embrace right now. So just face it and go through it and make good decisions, and you've got this. It's going to end up making you feel a lot more fulfilled in your relationships and partnerships. Eighth house, this is intimacy, shared resources, and transformation. So kind of similar to that seventh house, this is relating to others as well, but this is in a deeper way. This is like the marriage contract. This is shared resources, like, your house on a deed, your house on a car with somebody else. I'm sorry, your name. Did I say your name on it? What am I saying? Anyway, your name on a deed for a house or for a car, and that being shared with somebody else. And how do I express myself in these close partnerships? How do I make sure the terms feel right, but also be supportive of somebody else? That is kind of that story there. You may inherit money. You may get a big windfall. Like if you work in some sort of career, like let's say sales, you may get a really big contract that comes through, and you may be figuring out, do I want to invest this somewhere? Do I want to put some of it in savings, some of it in investments? These are going to be the themes. You're thinking about legacy, big money, big investments. You may want to make a big purchase, buy a home or something, but this is sort of what you're working through, what you're figuring out, what you're deciding. Also, the eighth house rules, like I said, the contracts and things like that. You may sign a contract. Just make sure that you read everything, with Neptune in Aries. If this is your eighth house, until Saturn joins mid-February, I would say, when Saturn joins mid-February, I think that's a fine time to start signing contracts, because it's Saturn will help you really look through all the details and make sure it's solid. If you can hold off until Saturn gets there, I would. Let me give you the exact day. When is the exact day? Okay, Saturn moves into Aries February 13th, 2026. So if you can wait to sign anything, I would wait till then. But this is going to be a really good time to also make any big transformations. The eighth house rules total transformation, your total head to toe self. You can really change anything during this time, because Aries is very motivated and empowered. So if there's something that you've been wanting to change in your life, it can be finally getting in shape, or making a big move, really anything, because it's transformation overall. Go for it. This is the time to do it. Just make it happen. Remind yourself life is short, and it's time to make those big leaps. Be brave. Okay. I don't know. Maybe somebody need to hear that, but that's just coming through. Okay. Ninth house. So this is travel, beliefs, higher learning. You may want to write a book. Do it. Self-publish. Aries energy. Aries rules the entrepreneur, the self-made person. Don't wait for somebody else to give you permission. You may want to travel. Do it. Amazing. Go for it. As long as you stay balanced, you stay safe, this is a really good time for you to do that. Do things independently. Explore different beliefs. Go back to school. Anything having to do with you expanding your horizons, expanding the mind. This could be teaching, All of those things are going to be very, very heavily focused on and very positive for you to lean into. You guys are going to help everybody in the world by showing up as this big thinker, by not being afraid to explore new ideas, and by sharing the things that you've learned from a really balanced place, okay? It's very important as we focus on this Aries energy that we keep the heat turned to like keep the heat high, but keep it turned down to a manageable degree. We don't want to get burned. And so for you, you can be part of that positive speech and the positive information coming through that is like balanced, but also really informative. Okay, the 10th house. This is career, reputation, authority. If you have an Aries ruled 10th house, you're going to be really focusing on your career. You may make a big change. Maybe you're going to have a totally different career. Maybe you are going to decide with your Aries energy, you're going to start your own business. As long as you do it in a way that's smart and safe and let Saturn come in and help you. Don't make any big moves until Saturn joins Neptune February 13th. But this is just a really good time for you to fully embrace your career in a way that feels fulfilling. You are a leader in your career, in your public image. You may want to like run for political office. Like, I don't know. I'm telling you, this is what this transit's about. It's about doing what you feel called to do. So ask yourself, in my career, like, how could I feel more fulfilled? What do I want to do? How can I be more of a leader? How can I be more independent? All of those things are very much going to be lighting up your 10th house. And lean in. We need you to be that person that you want to be. It's because it's going to help everybody else as well. 11th house, friends, community, future goals. You guys are also going to be right there with the third housers, organizing community events, being out there and bringing people together, making sure that you are a part of positive changes in your community, in the world around you. You may find that you spend a lot more time with friends during this next 14-year period, even if you're someone that's a little bit more behind the scenes, or you don't necessarily, like to have a lot of friends. You may find that you become more outgoing. You channel that Aries energy into being out and about with people and collaborating more. That's really good, an amazing thing to do during this time period. But yeah, you guys are here to bring people together, and this is also a time for you to like set your goals and make them happen. The 11th house rules are wishes, hopes, dreams, goals. So go after those biggest goals that you have. Go after those big goals, those big dreams. Aries doesn't want you to get permission. It wants you to just go for it, and you'll be rewarded for that. Now, be safe, within reason, but believe in yourself, because this is the time for you to really go for those dreams and goals, and they can happen. The dreams can all come true. Okay. Believe that. Positive affirmations, very important. And be around other people. Show up as yourself fully in these groups. Be around people that reflect back to you, the acceptance and the love that you deserve, and have fun. It's a great, great time for you to be around others as well. 12th house, this is your subconscious, spirituality, and endings. So for you guys, you may find that you have some like spiritual insights during this time. You may become some sort of like spiritual leader, but not in the Neptune and Pisces way that was a little bit more performative, allegedly, in the way where you are like embodying your spirituality. So for example, let's say you are someone who believes in like Christian teachings. Rather than being someone who just talks about that, you would be a person who is living that with the Aries energy, the spiritual warrior. You would be someone that others would notice is like going to homeless shelters and serving food, organizing toy drives, or maybe like food drives for your local animal shelter. You are going to be embodying compassion. The 12th house is about that compassion. And it's like a next level graduation from the Neptune and Saturn and Pisces energy that we just saw, where you were like probably deepening your ability to have empathy, and maybe you saw different things that helped you to realize like, ooh, there is something beyond this. Like, I don't know what, but like things that triggered your spiritual insights, maybe your intuition. Maybe you had some moments where you kind of saw something happening or thought something would happen and then it did. But that's sort of what you were like exploring the last 14 years. Now it's like, okay, you know who you are, you know what your beliefs are, you know what you think is important and what you feel is like the right thing to do. Now that we are in Aries energy with Neptune there, it's like bringing that spirituality into action. So you are going to be living your belief system and showing other people that you can make basically a heaven on earth with the way that you treat people and the way that you show up. And that showing up with kindness isn't weak. It's actually very strong. Aries energy, the spiritual warrior. So you're going to show us about true strength. Y'all are going to be an example of true strength, what real strength looks like. So good on you guys. All right. I can't wait to see what you get up to. But that is kind of in a nutshell what this 14-year transit of Neptune into Aries is about. I talked about it a little bit before back in March when we were just getting into the transit, and I predicted that it would be a relief in many ways. We wouldn't feel so muddled. Yes, there would be challenges, but we'd be able to see the road in front of us. And it's like, okay, I know that there are challenges, but I also know how to show up, and I'm going to keep doing it. Aries gives us more bravery, more courage, more energy to do things. Neptune in Pisces was very sleepy. It was very sleepy and a little bit confusing. And I think that collectively we all sort of felt that way. But now we're getting clarity. And not just that, but we're feeling empowered to take positive steps. So I think it's really good. This is the rebuilding energy. Also, this is like the year of the fire horse. I have a whole podcast coming out about that next week. So tune in for that. The energy kicks in mid-February, and it's going to be very, very positive and impactful. We can use it or lose it, as they say. So we want to use it. Let me do a quick reading. Let's see. What do we need to know collectively for entertainment purposes only? Only positive, uplifting messages from Archangel Michael. What do we need to know about this Neptune and Aries transit specifically? Nine of Swords. Okay. This is anxiety and fear. So Aries is associated with courage and bravery. Pisces energy, Pisces being the fish swimming in two different directions, is known for, sometimes on the dark side, really getting in their own head, ruminating, overthinking. You don't want to do that, okay? This is what we're letting go of. We're letting go of rumination and overthinking, and instead we're taking action. And this can even be in a little way. Let's say the Aries rules your 6th house and you're having some insomnia because you're a little stressed. Well, get up and, do a little miniature workout in your room. And, you can even just do like little plyometrics. Get the energy out, move, be active, get out of your head and into your body. If there's something you've been thinking about that you really want to do, well, stop thinking about it and just start doing it. That's kind of the energy. So we're letting go of 9 of Swords. We're letting go of confusion. We're letting go of overthinking. Okay, what else? Love that, by the way. As a Virgo overthinker, needed that. Needed this energy. Okay. Ace of Wands. Love it. This is fire sign energy. This is passion. Pursue your passions. Listen to your intuition. Neptune will tell you how to tune into your inner fire. Neptune's going to light the way. So just listen to yourself and follow your passions. You already know the answers. Aries is very independent and self-sufficient. So don't go around feeling like you need to ask everybody else what they think. Do what you think, okay? And look at that. There's like a 1. When you do what you think, when you trust yourself, when you listen to your intuition, you're going to be feeling Ace of Wands energy. You're going to be in alignment. I love that. I'm going to leave it there because that I feel like is like the most powerful message. It's about letting go of the confusion. This feels very Pisces, like more negative side of Pisces to me. Letting go of the confusion, the anxiety, the overthinking, and we're just starting to now take positive actions. And we will know what those are because we will feel it in our gut. We'll feel lit up and excited about it. Just go do it. You got this. Okay, guys. Well, things are happening right on time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. Let me know what you guys think about Neptune in Aries. What are you looking forward to most about this transit? Is there anything that you really enjoyed during the little taste of the transit over the spring, summer months? Let me know. And if you have any questions, of course, drop them in the comments. But I can't wait to see what unfolds and what we all are able to make happen for the good in a positive way over this next time period. And again, check out Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, an amazing Aries energy book. And I said I was going to read some stuff to you, but I will save this for another time because I feel like we ended on a good note. All right. Love y'all. Bye, guys.